In my opinion, nonchalance is ruining everything. And I know that this is probably a very talked about topic already because, nonchalance is slash was a very big social trend among Gen Zs and I guess Gen Alphas as well. So I would not be surprised if there were already a million YouTube video essays about this topic that are also infinitely more well researched than this video is going to be because I've done basically no research, but I just have some personal opinions and thoughts I would like to share. So just bear with me. If you can't tell from how I opened this video, I do not like the social trend of nonchalance. What it is essentially is not caring and being indifferent towards everything. And it's not the not caring part that I have an issue with, it is the everything part that I do take issue with. Because, not caring about things is not inherently a problem. Because, not caring about some things can definitely be beneficial towards you. Because, on the other hand, caring a lot about everything all the time would be very, very tiring and very taxing. So, not caring would definitely make life a lot less stressful. But I think the issue comes when people don't care about the wrong things. Because not caring about some people's opinions of you is one thing, but not caring about their emotions is another thing. And I think that is one of the main issues with it. I also think that nonchalant culture is kind of self-contradictory because the reason people take part in nonchalant culture in the first place is because, they want social acceptance. And if everybody around them is being nonchalant, then the way, logically, you would try to receive social acceptance is by doing what everyone else is doing and joining the crowd, which is baseline, very fair logic, I guess, if you don't think about anything else. But then, I feel like the logic kind of collapses in on itself when you think about the fact that if everybody doesn't care at the same time, then it kind of nullifies the whole concept of a social connection, because what a social connection is when you empathize with other people and you receive empathy. But if nobody cares about anything and nobody cares about anyone, then nobody empathizes and nobody feels empathy from other people. Then what happens to the social connection? But I think that there is a consequence that becomes more apparent in the long run, because you still feel that social inclusion right now. So just being nonchalant is the easiest way, and you feel kind of included in the sense where you're doing the same thing as everybody else. But as much as it kind of does form some kind of inclusion, it also causes some social exclusion, which I think is the most prominent and most noticeable in the existence of cringe culture. The first things that I think of when I think of cringe culture are furries, weebs, K-pop fans, Taylor Swift fans. And when you actually think about the commonalities between those groups of people and why they are all categorized into cringe culture, the main similarity is that these people are just really passionate about a certain thing. And due to nonchalant culture, this passion is considered cringe. Because what nonchalant culture has basically dictated is that in order to be cool And in order to be socially acceptable, you have to like certain things, or you have to like the things that you like a normal amount. But what really is a normal amount? In the context of nonchalant culture, liking things a normal amount is just almost zero, in my opinion, where you're supposed to like something casually in a sense, and you're not supposed to get really excited or emotional in any way about anything. For example, if you were to be a fan of a musician, you're not supposed to like them to the extent of listening to every single one of their songs obsessively and having a full playlist of all of their songs. And you're not supposed to like them to the extent of owning multiple pieces of their merch and being a self-proclaimed part of their fan base, and I don't know, liking them to the point of creating a fan page or making fan art. Because if you do, that's just cringe, because why do you care so much? You're supposed to like them to the extent of maybe having 5 or 6 of your favorite songs by them that you listen to sometimes and not bringing up in most conversations, and not owning them much, maybe 1 or 2 pieces, and not creating fan content. But in my opinion, you say it's not that deep, and it really isn't that deep. So why not just let people enjoy what they want to enjoy to the extent that they want to enjoy it? Because at the end of the day, most of the time, they're not harming anyone, they're not harming you. They're just doing something that they're passionate about. And them being passionate about something isn't affecting your life. If you see someone creating fan content online and you think that's cringe, you can always choose to just not interact with it and go on with your day. But I find that a significant amount of people on the internet, they just tend to feel like they need to say something about it. So you see a lot of content that people post online about, say, learning a K-pop dance, about an anime character that they really like and cosplaying that character, and the comments are all like, this is so cringe, this is not cool, and like, I don't know, bro thinks he did something, bro thinks he's so cool. Okay, maybe they think they're cool, maybe they don't, but why does it matter? They're just doing something that they like. And that kind of person that feels the need to comment on people doing things that they are passionate about, they are the most chalant people in the world. Because if you were truly nonchalant, you would just leave that person alone. You would not care what they were doing. But evidently, you care enough to comment something. And that is an instance, I think, of what I was mentioning just now, where these nonchalant people don't care about other people's feelings. Because in this case, in this example that I've just given, they don't care about what this person might feel when they see these comments, but unknowingly or without realizing, they do care enough that everybody knows that they think this is cringe. And it's instances like that that also show that nonchalant culture has also given rise to straight up bullying. A common phrase that you will hear from these people is, it's not that deep. And most of the time, they use this phrase when they have said something offensive or something hurtful. And then when you express any form of emotion, of like being hurt, of being offended, of wanting to explain to them why that's wrong, they just say, oh, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. I don't care. It's not that deep. You shouldn't care either. which, if you can't tell, is just dismissing the other person's feelings and just completely invalidating their opinions. It's the whole concept of someone telling a story and then another person going, Who? Who asked? Because, people want to show other people that they are nonchalant, that they don't care. But in the process of doing so, they just completely disregard other people's feelings in order to prove their point. Which is why I say that I think nonchalance is ruining everything. Because it is definitely ruining social interactions and social connections. It just circles back around again to poor mental health, because then you are basically forbidden to express anything. Because if you were to say, oh, this upset me, that's being too chalant. You're supposed to be nonchalant. You're supposed to not care. So if you're affected in any way by anything, you're supposed to just not show it. You're supposed to be completely cool and indifferent. And that would definitely stifle someone's emotional well-being. And in a society where everyone is just suppressing their emotions, whether it's positive or negative, that society is just going to crumble. Because society thrives on connection, which, once again, cannot happen if everyone is nonchalant. But of course, all that being said, I am a victim of nonchalant culture myself. For me, it manifests in the form of not wanting to seem like I put a lot of effort into everything, and wanting to be like, oh, that was no big deal. Which I think is pretty common as well. You don't even know how many times I retook the beginning of this video. But then that kind of just branches out into the issue of falsely presenting perfection. Because when you want to show that something was like, oh, it was no big deal, or it didn't take any effort at all, didn't take that much effort, when it actually did take quite a bit of effort, then that's just lying. And then it could lead into a whole different discussion about social media and how false representations of perfection and false representations of the amount of effort someone puts in to achieve that perfection can have pretty big negative impacts on viewers. For example, someone could think, how does this influencer have such a perfect fit, nice body when they don't even seem to be doing that much, while I'm exercising and working out so much, eating healthy, and yet I'm not seeing the same kind of results? When in actuality, maybe the photo is edited, or the influencer is putting in a lot of work behind the scenes but just not sharing it, and that leads to viewers thinking, oh, they're not even doing that much, and this comes so easy for them, when that is straight up not the truth. Caring about things is seen by these people as desperation, when in reality, these people that take part in nonchalant culture are also desperate for that social acceptance, like I said earlier. So is there really a difference between caring about a TV show that you like, or caring about wanting to be included in a social setting? Personally, I feel like both things are very valid things to care about, and we shouldn't be putting each other down for caring about anything or being passionate about anything. And I guess that means if you want to be nonchalant, go ahead, but you have to understand either A, it's gonna ruin all your relationships, or B, you have to know when to step aside and be chalant. Because I guarantee caring about some things is gonna help you more than not caring about anything. I think after the initial surge of nonchalant culture, there have been some people that have gone online to talk about being nonchalant and why you should be nonchalant. And that has contributed to nonchalant culture dying down a little bit. But at the same time, you can't really completely get rid of nonchalant culture because it is not just something that has appeared in recent months, because nonchalant culture has basically existed forever, which is why cringe culture has also kind of existed forever as well, just maybe not called cringe culture all the time. In my opinion, as long as there were social outcasts, you could say that those social outcasts were kind of victims of a form of cringe culture. Think of people that have been ostracized because they're too eccentric or they had wacky ideas. Like, in a way, they were kind of victims of cringe culture. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. But even if nonchalant culture was something that just popped up randomly recently, I think that it's something that would have quite a lasting impact on this generation and Gen Alpha as well. Because imagine the moment they gain sentience in the world, the thing that's cool and trendy is not caring. That's gonna stick with you. The basis of nonchalant culture is wanting to seem cool and like everything is really easy for you, because I guess that would imply that you're really good at everything, which is a whole nother can of worms. To simplify, in my opinion, you don't have to be good at every single thing in the world to be cool. I think that being passionate about certain things is the essence of human life. It is the human experience to love things and to care about things. So if you were to be completely nonchalant, that essentially strips you of your personality and I guess also your humanity. Because you could argue that what makes us human is our ability to care and love and feel emotions and be passionate about things in the way that we do. I think that's one of the reasons why I just don't like nonchalant culture, because when you strip yourself of these passions and love, you kind of just minimize yourself down to nothing, because you have no defining traits. You are just as uncaring and indifferent as the next person. And with all that being said, I think that everybody should care more about the things that matter and stop putting other people down for caring about things. And if you're wondering who asked, I asked.